Welcome back to the Words from the Nerds podcast. He was sorely missed last week. Maybe by some, maybe not by everybody. But if you did miss him, he's back. Our wonderful co-host, Benjamin. How was your trip, buddy? How was your trip, and how was abandoning us for a week? How was
Oh,
that,
come
man?
on. It was just a few days, but it was great. I sent you guys some pictures and I didn't watch your guys' episode because,
Because he hates the podcast, guys. He hates the podcast.
without
That's
me,
why.
what's the point? Like
That's crazy.
I
That
only
is
watch
wild.
back so that I can see myself. But no, it
That is
was
wild.
it was good. It was a really good trip, fun time with the family, skiing in Utah for those who didn't know. Beautiful out there, great weather, lots of snow, lots of fun. Can't complain.
No schmo. It's snowing outside for me right now, buddy. Oh my god, you think it's
Sucks to be
exclusive?
you.
Good for you.
Jeez.
I like the snow, man. I like the snow. But also, of course, we are joined by our other lovely co-host, Aiden. How we doing from last week, pal? What has been up, not what is up.
Lots, man. I'm finally able to start tackling some stuff I've been wanting to watch for a while. Caught up with Severance, rewatching Invincible to prepare for these first three episodes and the next batch we're getting next week, or the next episode we're getting next week, I should say. And so, yeah, couldn't ask for a better way to pass my time than just stress-free watching shows, dude. Once I just knowing that, oh, I'm off at 2, I'm off at 12:30 tomorrow, I can edit then. I got all day to just catch up on these shows I missed. It's nice. I'm used to getting off at 9 o'clock and coming in and watching the episode that I missed real fast because I just didn't have time earlier in the week. So yeah, it's been a nice little change up, and I'm doing wonderful.
I feel like this has, you're talking about all the TV shows you're catching up on. I feel like this is officially, it's already started, the gigantic, I guess I was going to call it a TV binge, but maybe that's not the best way to describe it. But Severance has already started back up, and it's been going now. We have Spiderman, which we're about to talk about. The episodes 3, 4, and 5. We're going to talk about with Spiderman here, and we have Invincible just started. The first 3 episodes of that dropped next week. If you guys care, I don't think you guys have watched this, but for those who do care, The White Lotus season 3, and then you got Daredevil starting in just under a month now. Wild. Actually, no, I think a month from today, or maybe is it March 6th? It doesn't matter. Daredevil's going to be starting. We're getting turned up right now. We're about to be feasting every single week. And along with that, of course, films are going to be dropping at the same time. And before we jump into the myriad of things that we have to talk about in this episode, I wanted to go back and remind y'all with some little bit of housekeeping that you guys can leave us a comment at any point on the YouTube. You can leave us some fan mail. There should be a link on Spotify or any podcast listening platform that you are on. Why is Aiden? Aiden just jumped out of his chair for audio listening. Speaking of audio listeners, Aiden just jumped.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. We don't have any fan mail this week, but Jesus Christ, our last episode popped off on audio. Jesus.
What, the Spider-Man one?
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, we
bro.
haven't had that high of a number since February 16th of last year.
Jeez.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Look at that. If you are a returning viewer from last week's episode, thank you so much. That is wild. You literally I know you guys can't see, but Aiden jumped up and had the dumbest little smirk on his face. It was wild. But back to what I was saying, you can leave us a comment on YouTube or leave us some fan mail with whatever podcast listening platform you're on, and we will read it aloud before each and every episode. Now, with that being said, apparently we don't have any fan mail from any podcast listening platforms, but we do have some comments from last week's episode where we talked about our thoughts on the new Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man show. First comment comes from Mikey underscore H119. And they say, been watching since the Sonic episode. You guys definitely deserve more attention. Always look forward to the pod now with a little fire emoji. That's sick, bro. I love to hear that kind of stuff just because, I mean, I love to hear when people jump on and like, it's interesting to me to see like what episode of ours made them decide to continue watching and like what piqued their interest. And it's crazy to me that Sonic was one of those things. I guess not super crazy. Sonic's a big franchise, but I just hopped onto that franchise pretty late, as you guys know. Like you guys were all up on Sonic 1 and 2 beforehand, and I had to like binge watch them going into Sonic 3 so I could be prepared. But yeah, it's super cool. Thank you for that comment.
Yeah, shout out to Mikey. I also think it did just hit streaming earlier this week.
Already?
So it either hit streaming. Yeah, it did hit streaming. I was gonna say either streaming or digital, but I think digital happened already. It did hit streaming. Maybe not earlier this week. Maybe earlier this. I don't know, mid-January. I'm not sure. Anyways, regardless. So yeah, I mean, I'd be interested, Mikey, if you're listening. I mean, I'd be interested to see if maybe he had kind of watched the movie now that it came to streaming and was like, oh, cool. Let me like look into. Let me see what other people thought and stumbled upon and was just like, oh, shit, cool. Or watched it when it came out and has been just quietly listening, which, you know, we appreciate also. So, yeah, it's super cool. I was super drunk that day. I went out with my fiance and some friends, and I was just, like, hammered drunk. And I read that, and I was like, thank you so much, man. I was like, I can't get too, like, detailed, but I was like, just know in that moment, I was like, smiling ear to ear because I was just drunk off my ass reading that.
For context, Aiden replied to Mikey's comment and said, "You're the best, man. We appreciate the support more than you know." With a fire emoji.
that was the alcohol. Yeah, that fire emoji was the alcohol.
And our second and final comment comes from the lovely Brandon, who we sincerely appreciate watching and commenting almost every week, if not every week, guaranteed. But he says, crazy that they still haven't watched X-Men 97. And I just want to know where he got they, because, pal, trust me, I've watched it like 2 times over. Okay, I give the show the respect it deserves. You know, these two, I can't speak for them. They just don't know. They just don't know what's good right in front of them. You know, they don't know a good thing when it smacks them across the.
I mean, tragic. At least I watched like half of it, but
not good enough, man. Not good enough. Did you even get to the Genosha episode?
I don't think so.
Dude, what? Oh my god, that's the best episode of the entire thing. Oh my god. I think it's probably like if you made it halfway through, I think that's the next episode that you would have watched. Crazy, man.
Did I watch that one? Is that when Magneto
we've talked about it before.
Okay, yeah. Oh my gosh.
I think that was the last one you watched.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Brandon's one to talk. I mean, I was just at his house an hour ago watching the new episode of Severance. So, Brandon, you know, you know more than anybody. All right, buddy, that you know what's been going on.
Well, Severance takes precedent over
I mean,
you put off. Okay.
I mean, one of the best shows.
It's not Brandon's fault. It's not Brandon's responsibility to sit your ass down and make you watch it. Okay, you got to do that shit yourself.
It is though.
Give that show the damn respect.
That's what he doesn't know. It is his responsibility.
Oh my gosh.
He actually did that with X-Men 97.
Yes.
He was like, He was like, all right, I'm putting it on.
Made you watch it?
He was like, I'm putting it on. And I was like, all right.
Good. I mean, I guess that's if he's got the time, that's the right thing to do. But that concludes our final comment from last week's episode. Thank you all so much, Brandon and Mikey. We appreciate you guys. Keep those comments coming. If you want to be read on next week's episode, we will happily do it. You can even insult us. As we've said in the past, you can insult us. We'll read it aloud. Might cry while doing it, but
Ben,
that's just all the better.
You actually, since you didn't, I mean, you probably read the comments, but since you weren't here last week, you actually got a nice bit of comments from our draft episode. I don't know if you know.
Oh yeah, they
Oh,
were
really?
Yeah.
they were riding you, bro. They were they were like, "Oh, Ben's getting picked on." I can go back. I'll back to those comments right real quick. You guys are picking on Ben so bad. Oh my gosh, man, come on, bro. Y'all gotta stop supporting Ben so much. We're just for context of audio listeners. I'm just going back to read last week's or 2 weeks ago's comments now, because Ben was not here last week, and he also didn't watch our episode last week, so he didn't get to hear what people said. But Brandon commented, and he said, "Great picks, Ben." And then Pablo Raider commented, and he said, "Nah, y'all kept shitting on Ben's picks." And then Cece commented again, and they were a commenter from the week prior to this episode that I'm talking about the comments from, and said, "Is Ben okay?" I think they meant because your camera was off for that episode, but or
Yeah.
the fact that we were just on your ass about your list.
Or both. Yeah, you know.
And then the other one's just about Aiden and his hair, but I don't
Well,
wanna
Mikey-
inflate Aiden's ego anymore. So
Yeah, I mean, I kept it out 2 weeks in a row for him. Mikey actually ended up replying to CC and said, "I know, right? Bro went into hiding." So Mikey has actually commented on that one too. So
yeah.
appreciate you.
Mikey the goat. But with that being said, before we jump into like the uber important stuff to talk about, like the Fantastic Four trailer and your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man thoughts, I wanted to talk about what I watched this last week, and I got to go to the theater and watch Companion. It always looked like Champion to me at first, just like the, I don't know, the cursive writing. It confused me sometimes. But I watched Companion, starring Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher. And oh my gosh, man, what a movie. What a film. I'm not going to be talking spoilers, don't worry, just because Aiden and Ben both have not seen it yet, and I know that they want to, and I'm sure there are some of you in the audience that also want to watch that movie. But truthfully, I mean, I don't know if it's considered like a horror movie. I think it's more of like a thriller, but it was very engaging to me. And I have a couple of like cinema sins type nitpicks that I can't really talk about, but I mean overall, like Jack Quaid is such a versatile actor, man. Oh, wow. And I feel like prior to this, like there's almost every project he's in, or I think every project actually he's in, I genuinely love. There's this movie, might still be on Netflix, but it's actually one of my favorite movies of all time. I need to rewatch it. It's called Plus One, where it's him and I forget her name, but she was in the Amazon Prime Mr. and Mrs. Smith show with Donald Glover. She's fantastic in that movie as well. Great movie. Jack Quaid does a fantastic emotional acting job in that movie. And then it's no different here. Like he plays like, I can't, dude, I wish I could say everything I want to say about him, but like, just know he's fantastic. And Sophie Thatcher plays a fantastic, this isn't a spoiler because it's in the trailer, fantastic android robot thing. Very well. Also, like it's very convincing.
That's a spoiler.
That's not a spoiler.
I didn't watch any.
I've avoided the trailers, man.
What? Okay, well, I guess that's my bad.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Why are you gonna watch it if you avoided the trailers?
Because the director is the guy who did Barbarian, which is just such a crazy movie, and I saw one critic say, just like Barbarian, it's a movie that's best to go in blind.
Nice.
So I only know the two actors, and that's it.
Okay. Well, sorry to ruin that one for you, I guess. I will say, as it pertains to that bit of information, I definitely agree. It's better to go in not knowing that information. So I do apologize, but I think. Well, hold on. Don't throw your head back. It's not like it literally. There's one moment in the movie that it would have been better for. There's one moment. Like it's not that deep, but I do think them showing it in the marketing in this, I believe it was the second trailer in which they revealed that. I do think that was a weird choice to do, if just for how it's played in the movie. But that's all I'll say for that. Fantastic movie, truthfully. Even the other characters that I can't talk about because Benjamin's already butthurt, so I can't keep going. But just know, fantastic movie. I can't wait to hopefully talk about it whenever these two watch it. But with that
I'd be
being said,
down. Yeah, I'd be down for that.
yeah. With that being said, I think we'll jump into the real meat and potatoes of the episode.
Real quick, everybody go watch Severance. It is the best TV show running right now. It is phenomenal. Episode 4 just came out today at the time of recording, and yeah, it has shattered my mind. It's phenomenal. It's great. Hopefully we can be here to talk about it when these two catch up. Speaking of people not catching up and watching peak shows.
I'm literally actively watching it. Is the crazy part? Like, and so is Ben. Ben is as well. Ben's just further behind than me. But I am I had to stop watching the show so we could go and record this episode. I just want that to be known. I want that to be known.
Y'all actually caught up super fast. Because whenever we were playing the other day, y'all were just watching.
No, yeah, we were not like really grinded. Like we watched like 2 episodes a night because like we stopped. Normally we've been watching. There's not Celebrity Jeopardy. What is it? Pop Culture Jeopardy on Amazon. We've been watching that, but they only drop like 3 episodes a week, and so we stopped watching that, and we've been watching Abbott Elementary, and we stopped watching that, and we've just been doing Severance every night instead of like the mixing it up with whatever shows.
Yeah.
So yeah, we caught up pretty quick just doing that. But yeah, I mean, I agree with Aiden. Severance, fantastic show, dude. Oh my god, I'm not gonna spoil it, Ben. Don't worry, I already spoiled one thing for you. But dude, the end of season 1, like watching it again, man, I got hyped up all over again.
It is like
so
perfectly done to like have all the fireworks go off at the same time, and just like, oh my god, like it is genuinely a perfect hour of television. Like even the episode before that, the penultimate episode, when it ends with the thing happening, and you're like, oh yes, it's fucking here, bro. It's fucking here,
bro. I think the last 3 episodes of season 1 are fantastic. I think they're phenomenal.
And that's how I feel about season 2. I think every single episode in season 2 so far has been almost perfect. Like there is no fucking fluff in this show, and it's insane to me how they just like, I kind of got scared because I was like, watch the one episode that I finally catch up to, like I can finally catch live and go all the way to Brandon's house and watch it with. I was like, watch this be the episode that just nothing happens. I was like, they did it again, dude. They fucking did it again. Like it's crazy. I would liken what I felt tonight to that penultimate episode where you're just like, oh my god, that just happened. Like what is gonna go, like where do they go from here? They have 6 episodes. Where do they go from here? It's an awesome show. I love how they've restored that feeling of going to Reddit, going to Twitter, and just like, okay, what's going on? What'd y'all pick up on this time? What are people seeing? Like, what are they putting together? And genuinely, I mean, it's been so long since, at least me, since I've watched a TV show, and week to week, you're like, oh my god, what is this little moment? I've never paid more attention to a TV show ever in my life, just looking at every little detail and trying to piece stuff together. And so yeah, this
boy was on the subreddits before we started recording, chat, just so you guys know.
I was just sitting here scrolling. Yeah, it's great.
Boy is wilding on this show. And I just want y'all to know also, he just started watching it like a week ago. So bro just hopped on the bandwagon finally, and now he's dick riding it.
Hey, you know what?
Like he did Spiderman.
Talk all you want. I didn't have to wait 3 years for season 2. And shit, I'm fine with that.
Dude, I hate you.
So,
dude, I actually
yeah. I got that above you.
Rewatching it, dude, I was like, dude, I can't believe like I just kind of like pushed that out. Like I had to push it out so I could just like move on and wait. Like,
I hate, man. But I love that feeling where you just finish something and you're like, I don't want to wait. Like I want the rest of it. Like I don't want to have to push this away.
It was a ridiculous. I mean, I'm happy it's here now. So, but yes, watch Severance. But anyway, now we're gonna jump into the meat and potatoes of this episode, which you probably clicked on it for anyway, the thumbnail and the title. This past week, I think 3 days ago now, we got the very first teaser trailer for the Fantastic Four First Steps in the MCU. Now, granted, I wanna preface, I know we've been pretty hard on the MCU on this podcast as of late, just in terms of it seems like they're directionless in where they're going, and all the choices they seem to be making just don't align with where we think the thought should be, like such as casting Robert Downey Jr. and I mean, we like bringing the Russos back. That's something that we all agree on. We think is a good choice. I do think I did have some pushback on that. Like bringing the Russos back is nice. It's good, and I'm excited for it. But at the same time, I would love new faces in there. But just there's little things about the MCU that where they are now, and even like even though I put Thunderbolts on my list, doesn't look like it's going to be like that great of a film, but who knows? We'll see. But Fantastic Four, throughout all of that, all the criticism we've given to the MCU, at least for Aiden and I don't know about Ben because I don't think he knows much about the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four has been the shining beacon of hope for the MCU in every single conversation we've had about it. And oh my God, did that shining beacon of hope deliver with this trailer? My goodness, man, tears to my eyes, just like the Superman one. And I was recently asked by my dad which trailer I found to be better, and I think I don't think Aiden agrees with this. I think he thinks the Fantastic Four one is better, but yeah. I still think the Superman one is a little bit better, just because I think in terms of what it was able to show with its runtime, it showed a bit more. Not that I want too much shown in a teaser trailer, but I think that seeing the heart and soul per se of Superman finally back or recaptured was a absolute euphoric feeling. Not that the heart and soul of the Fantastic Four wasn't captured in this trailer, because oh my God, the line of when Reed is telling Sue before we went up the first time, Ben wasn't a rock. And then Sue says, well, first of all, Ben was always a rock. Like, dude, I teared up listening to that line, watching him look at his old self in a TV at a store on the street, and the TV turns off, and then he has to look at his own reflection. Fucking absolutely phenomenal shit, right? I loved it. I love it to death. And I want to say when I put the Superman trailer above, it is like they're basically touching each other. Like it's not that deep for me, but holy shit. Like I'm just happy getting fed as good as we are. And it's crazy that we're talking about both of these trailers and they both of these films come out in the same month within like 2 weeks of each other. Another crazy thing. I still don't know if that's actually going to come to fruition. I think Fantastic Four might move. It's possible, but who knows? We'll see. But that trailer, man, I can't. I've watched it every single day since it's dropped, and only thing I wish that I would have seen more, because everybody got a showcase of their powers except for Reed, it seemed like, and I am desperate to see how those stretchy powers look. With Ben looking so good, not you, Ben. Not that you don't look good, pal. Don't calm down. But with Ben looking so good, holy shit, man! I need to see them stretchies. I need to see them.
Yeah, dude.
Them stretchies.
I think it's, and sue me if you want, talk shit all you want. I'm not gonna listen. I think it's one of the best trailers I've ever seen. It's amazing. I mean, I teared up, not even just at Ben looking at himself in the mirror, but like hearing Vanessa Kirby say, like a family, with tears in her eyes. It's just like the way they captured the emotion of this trailer, and the connection that this family has, I think was done so perfectly. And you've been harping on the Ben line about like Ben is a rock, but I think the entire dialogue of the trailer does so much to really showcase that family bond that they have and that connection that they all share. And it also highlights their personalities so well in just a minute 40 seconds. Because the whole line is, you know, Reed stressing out about what happened with the accident and, you know, confiding in Sue, who is his rock as well, and as we know is just like, you know, his voice of reason, because he would go mad without her, with all that knowledge and work that he has to keep himself busy with. But he's explaining to her, you know, before we had that accident, you weren't invisible, Ben wasn't a rock, and Johnny didn't catch fire. And she says, Ben has always been a rock, Johnny's Johnny, and I'm still here. Contrasting everything that he's worrying about. You weren't invisible, I'm still here. Ben wasn't a rock, Ben's always been a rock. And then, like, it highlights all of their personalities in just that little bit of dialogue in the trailer. And I think that's what I love so much about it. It's one thing to have a visibly beautiful trailer with like a hardcore theme like Dune 2, which I still think is the greatest trailer of all time. It's one thing to have something like that. It's another thing to tell a story like this in the little bit of time that you have. And I don't really like to compare the Superman and Fantastic Four trailer. I mean, obviously, I think it's great. And Charlie, I don't think that's what you were doing. But I think the Fantastic Four trailer I like more. But, I mean, the Superman trailer didn't have any dialogue at all. And it still told a wonderful story in its little runtime. And so I think those two, they vary a lot. But they exceeded, and Brandon said this best, they both exceeded in what they were trying to convey. So there's really no need to go on the debate. And I'm glad I haven't seen too much of a debate on Twitter, that I've kind of seen everyone with the consensus of, oh, these two are both going to smack. And it's like, not that, oh, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And then that meme where he's like, oh shit, I get 2 cakes. And it's like, that's exactly what it is. We get 2 cakes.
3 cakes.
3 cakes with
Come on.
Gareth Edwards' Jurassic World. But yeah, I think it's I thought it was a perfect trailer. There isn't anything I would change. I would have loved to see Reed's stretch his stretchies, but thing is, I mean, if it's a VFX reason, if it's something they just want to perfect, I'm totally fine with it. So, you know, it's like a CinemaSins nitpick for me at least. But yeah, I love the story that they were telling. I love showing every character, Johnny wanting to go on an adventure and being a hothead running headfirst into action, Ben being burdened by his powers and, you know, missing how he used to be, and then obviously Reed confided in Sue and already worrying about all the smallest things. I love that little line of him being like, we have family night every Sunday at 7:00 on the dot. And it's like, he's just so poignant, and everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be on time. And we get to also see Sue being that rock for him and being the glue that holds everyone together, which is why she's the one to talk about all of them and to also help Reed out in the process of doing that. So all those things, I think it's a perfect trailer. I think it showed us everything that we needed to see. We get to see the threats and a little bit of the story, but more importantly, the family is front and center. And also, the fucking thing looks gorgeous. It looks like a movie. It looks gorgeous, man. And
bro's one of those.
I just saw somebody talk about how and it's true, bro. Like, I even said it in my video. I'm like, Ant-Man Quantumania does not look like a movie. It really doesn't.
I mean, trust me. If we're talking about Ant-Man Quantumania, I'm the first one to get in line to hate on that fucking shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the visuals in that compared to this, like, it looks so promising. And what I'll leave y'all off with is, my list has never looked more promising than it is right now, baby. All right? My list has never looked more promising.
Bro.
Yeah, okay.
There's no
Invincible
way.
season
Go
3,
ahead.
100%
Let it
on Rotten
run
Tomatoes,
in.
but that's fine.
Let's hear them out, folks. Oh, yeah, I told y'all it was coming, right? They can't keep their mouths closed for a second.
All I gotta say is 100%, buddy.
Bring it up.
100%, 100%. Rotten Tomatoes. That's all I gotta say. What do you guys have to show
right?
for anything?
Critic score, right?
Nothing.
Critics.
That's crazy.
Oh, because critics.
That's crazy.
Oh, critics matter.
We're doing both.
Audience.
We're doing both.
Audience. That's right.
We're doing both. We're doing both.
What? Now we are. Audience is a 98 anyways.
We've
what am
always
I talking
been
about? Audience is at a 98% anyways. Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus
buddy.
Christ.
Yeah.
Fucking
Can't wait to see what you guys got to show for it.
Rotten
all right?
Tomatoes farming over here. Buddy said, "Oh shit, season three could."
Isn't that what matters? I mean, that's what matters for as far as our lists are concerned.
All right, let me cope a little bit. Holy shit, let me cope a little bit.
Hey, dude, listen, I want, trust me, if I want the Rotten Tomatoes score to be high for Fantastic Four, because that means it's a good movie most of the time, all right? It usually means it's a good movie. So I want that shit to be high. Trust me, it's not going to be 100% like Invincible, but that's fine. That's fine, man. That's fine.
Yeah, all right, buddy.
That's crazy. I was just looking at our lists. I mean, I'm excited too. We won't truly know anything till the end of the year. We'll get a good idea of some things, but it's not looking bad for Aiden. I don't think it's looking bad for Charlie either. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, we literally
hold on, no.
think about it. Think about it. We drafted literally the best projects coming out. It's never gonna look bad. Like, it's always gonna. We're just fighting just to fight, guys. If we're gonna get through this, we have to do it together as a team. Come on, guys. Who's with me,
bro?
He's just Ben's just trying to play the good guy role, bro. Because we were shitting on him so bad, bro. But
yeah, I'm not gonna retaliate, you know.
Yeah, okay. He wants to be the dude. Ben's such a nice guy. He wants those kind of comments.
All right,
on the videos, bro.
Everybody, drop a Ben's a nice
trailer.
guy in the comments right now.
Fantastic Four trailer. Like they said, I am definitely less of a Fantastic Four fan. Haven't seen Fan Four Stick, which, you know, I don't really feel bad about that. I feel like some people would consider me lucky that I haven't watched that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I would say that, like, the trailer is a lot of what I expected, just based on like what we knew from the vibes that the movie was going to give off, kind of the old futuristic vibes. And so a lot of it like reflects that very well. So I can't say that I was like overly surprised by a lot of it. I still really loved it. Like, when I sent the text to you guys, like, it still had me really excited for what the movie's going to be. But like, at face value, it's like, it's kind of what we wanted and what we expected based on what we knew, which is great. Like, if they're hitting those marks, then we're in for a good time. But yeah, I thought it was really good. I don't know that it's fair to really compare this to the Superman trailer. Obviously, they mean completely different things. Superman being the start of a new universe, this being like, Marvel better not mess this up. But I won't beat a dead horse with that, just because we've talked about it so many times. One thing that I have also said in the past, though, is like, I feel like Marvel's trailers have always been pretty good. And that's not usually a good indication of how good the projects are going to be. So I'm hoping that this is a case where it's like, the trailer's good, but then it also actually translates well. But I don't feel like that's always been the case. It really just depends. My biggest worry still is with Matt Shakman, the director, just because of his previous work. But doesn't mean he can't improve. Yeah, he was the writer for WandaVision. I don't know. Has he even directed anything?
Any films?
Yeah,
I have no idea. Let me see while you
I'm already looking.
away.
I'm already looking.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I'll fucking do some very mean things to myself.
Don't say that. It looks like he was a director on some TV shows. He did like some Game of Thrones, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. I'm not I'm not seeing many film credits, but lots of TV shows. I mean, WandaVision was a mini series, so it seems like that's mainly what he's been doing. He's been doing it for a while, but um, he's also done some of The Boys apparently. One episode of The Boys. Huh,
Wow,
interesting.
Really?
what
Which
episode?
which one?
Season 1, episode 2, Cherry.
Oh, okay, early.
Oh yeah, I definitely remember that one. Not at all.
I think that's
listen.
the one that ends with a cherry bomb playing
Oh yeah, no. Still
with a
nothing.
translucent.
Is that when he blows him
Anyways.
up?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Ah,
I think that's the episode.
Yeah, let's go.
No, but I like obviously for any director, like you never know necessarily that like previous projects mean something in the future. In some cases, I think you can, like Denis Villeneuve doing another Dune movie. It's like, okay, we know what to expect. We can trust him with another Dune movie type of thing. But that was always my biggest concern, was taking the writer of WandaVision and putting him in the director's chair. But I don't know. I'm willing to look past that and take it at its own merit, of course, and I'm hoping that it's good. And I think the trailer was good. It was very good. It is a really good trailer and it did excite me, but I still stand by like it didn't show me anything or do anything that wasn't exactly what I hoped for based on what we knew. Which like I said, it's still a great thing. Obviously that's exactly what we want. But it's not like it blew me away or did anything super shocking for me.
Hey man, not the thing can't get everybody going. Just me, I guess.
I had a
So, it's
very proud moment when I showed my fiance the trailer and she was like, "He kind of sounds like Cousin," and I was like, "Oh, yes." I was like, "Well, I got news for you. It is." And she was like, "What? Really?" I was like, "Yep, that's Cousin."
Kind of sounds like Cousin.
I was like, "Yes, yes." There was a point in time where I thought I would never be able to get her to watch The Bear, and here we are now. So yeah, it was great. I love that they
There was
kept
a
his
point in
voice.
time that
There's a point in
Charlie
time
didn't think
where
that.
I didn't think you guys would watch The Bear. Crazy how full circle things come. But yeah, those are our thoughts on the wonderful Fantastic Four trailer. I wish we could say more, but obviously it was just a little teaser. It was a shorter teaser than I feel like most of the Marvel teasers. So, which is good. I don't want to. I don't want to see too much. I've already seen some kind of rumors that I don't even think I want to discuss on the episode because I'd rather. If
Is
you
it-
guys don't have to hear them, I'd rather like you not hear them.
Is it leaks?
Because like leaks, rumored leaks, I guess.
I've
maybe not.
seen a lot of those going around.
Yeah,
And they
and
match up.
They really kind of like they why I don't want to talk about them is because like I feel like it really adds like a thicker, I don't know, mold to the outline of the story rather than like right now if you don't know those things, like you just know Galactus, Fantastic Four, that's all you know.
Oh, yeah,
and then
yeah,
whoever
those.
I guess John Malkovich is playing, but
Yeah, at
and
first
Silver Surfer as well,
I thought
even though they weren't in the trailer.
my immediate
Sorry.
thought was Mole Man, but I quickly realized that other people had better guesses. So
Yeah, I heard like I don't know, I forget the name of the character, but he some people say that he's this character, and this isn't. I'm not saying the leaks that I was talking about previously, but just talking about John Malkovich's character. Apparently, he's some character that in the comics wanted to recreate the Fantastic Four and wanted to like get their powers. So like he went up to space like with 3 other monkeys to try to like do exactly what they did. Oh, also, actually, I wanted to mention about the trailer. Like, what do we? Am I just looking into this too much? Because when Reed is talking to Sue and he says, after the first time we went up, is when they got all their powers. So is that implying like they go up again? And why do they go up again? Do we think like to
Yeah.
try to reverse it?
probably, I don't. I honestly. Well, I'm
Or do you
trying-
think it pertains to like something with having to go up there for Galactus or something like that.
I think that the story will require them to go up, and they are hesitant because of that. And so the conversation is like, well, the first time we went, all this stuff happened, and
Yeah.
it's Sue building confidence in Reed of like
Well, yeah.
that monologue about their different characteristics and whatnot.
Well, I mean, and I think I know just based on what's been circling around. I think I know why they're going up again, but I won't get into it just based on
I think I do too.
leaks and whatnot. Yeah, so but
Jeez,
yeah,
guys. How do you
that's a
you guys just know stuff?
Trust me, I wish I didn't, Ben. I wish I did not.
why do you
So I
not
envy
do you
you.
not like the direction?
Well, I think I've talked about it. I've talked about it on the podcast before, but I'm not going to bring up
Yeah,
exactly what I
yeah.
said again for Ben's sake. But I think I've talked about it, and I said that like I don't want that direction. But that's just like a me personally thing, like that I can get like I'll be able to get over it. I'm sure. Like it's just a thing that like in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. It's just like I want it to be like this, but it's not going to be. So like just because I want it to be that way doesn't mean that's what's best for the story. So I can acknowledge that. It's just I don't know.
So, yeah.
I don't love that off rip, but it's fine.
All right, yeah. We'll see.
But with that being said, fantastic trailer. Can't wait for the movie. Unless you talk to Ben, then it was just like, oh, it was a good trailer. Fucking loser.
Jeez.
Sorry. It comes out, man. I don't know. I can't control it sometimes. But now, unfortunately, because these two chumps are chumps and they didn't watch Invincible, Aiden's not even caught up with season 2, so we won't be talking about Invincible, the first 3 episodes of Invincible season 3. I will say, pretty good.
How
episode
was
3 especially?
That's what I was just gonna ask. How episode 3 was, because Brandon told me the like first few episodes was basically just here's some more Invincible, but he said that kind of changed a little bit, and so I was wondering if that's. But yeah, okay, cool. Because
There's
honestly,
still,
that's how season 2 was. Like the first 2 episodes are just which I can give it grace because the biggest thing in the entire story up to that point just happened. And like one of the biggest thing in pop culture, like in media for superhero stuff, just happened in that finale. So I can give it grace. Like we have to see where they go now. So like the first 2 episodes, I can give them that. But then like that episode 3, just seeing Omni-Man again and being like, oh, this is about to get real.
Yeah.
And then Brandon said that the back half of season 2 he liked a lot more than the first half, and like this and that. So I was gonna ask if it seems like season 3's kind of going in that direction too.
Oh man, the back half of season, dude. There's a certain episode with, I'm trying to see who I can say who's in it without spoiling it for you. Well, honestly, the finale of season 2 really good, but that's not what I'm talking. With there's an episode and a conversation between Amber and Mark. Fucking dude, I was floored. It's so good. Can't wait to hear what you think about that one. Yeah. But I also I want to say season or episode 3 very, very good. And episode 2 is also very, very good. There's a lot of big shakeups happening. Can I mention? Have you guys watched the trailer? Now I'm going to ask this from now on because I spoiled.
I thought
I haven't, but I don't
watch.
care.
Maybe it was just the teaser. I don't know if I've seen the main trailer.
I like
well,
where
actually,
they
you guys have seen
animated
the posters and stuff, right?
with like Cecil, yeah. With
Cecil.
Well, I saw
Yeah,
I think I saw a
okay.
still from episode 3. So I think I
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. So that thing with Cecil happens in episode 2, and so like that is it's a very good episode. It's very well done, and it's a very interesting conflict, and so episode 1 I think is the weakest of the 3, and even with that being said, there are still interesting things that happen in episode 1, and more with like the actual characterizations of certain characters that you didn't like see, you never saw that before with certain aspects of them. But episode 3, as far as like I don't know, just being different and like artsy, I guess you could say. Pretty good, and I enjoyed it very much. Especially like the first, I think it's like 10, 10 or 15 minutes of the first episode. Pretty unique for, especially for an animated show, I feel like. But anyway, all I will say, because you guys haven't watched it.
I will say I'm very excited to see Jonathan Banks and Aaron Paul do some voice acting
Yeah.
for the season. I cannot wait.
I can
Are they?
I
Are
can
they?
say
Because that's what I was gonna
Well,
ask, but I didn't know if.
I can tell you when I know Aaron Paul is in it. I can tell you what episode he's in if you want, but
Yeah, tell me. I don't care.
episode 6. So he's not he hasn't been in it yet.
Oh, okay, interesting. Because I think they released like who they were playing.
Yeah, he's playing a character named Powerplex.
Oh my! I was gonna ask a question,
something
but
like
I
that.
don't want to. Is it
Wait, who was the other person? Aaron Paul
Jonathan
and who?
Banks?
Oh, yeah, they haven't said who
Mike.
he's playing. I don't even know who he's playing. Yeah.
Ooh, they didn't because they dropped a cat. They dropped pictures of like, Powerplex.
Yeah,
Okay.
but no, they dropped pictures for everybody except for him, and then there was one other person who didn't get a picture for who their
Whoa.
characters were.
He's got. I mean, Jonathan Banks has to be a Viltrumite, right? I mean, he has the voice.
Yeah, he has the voice. That's probably end up he probably will be.
Walter, put your dick away, Walter.
And I will say, I do also want to say it's so nice every time there's a new season. I always forget it, but then when we start back up, and then the intro is always like, has anybody seen? And then it cuts to the Invincible. Like
I love.
I
Episode 1 of season 2 didn't do it the entire episode, but kept teasing it. They were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, there's
Until
no
the
way
very
you're invincible,"
Yeah.
and they kept doing it until the end. And I was like, "Oh, that's great." And they showed the recap
sick.
for the season 1 finale, and I was like, I forgot how good this was, dude. It is a masterpiece of an episode. So good.
Yep, fantastic.
I can't wait
Super
to
good.
catch,
Super good.
catch back up.
But yeah,
Yeah.
as for Invincible, that is all we have to say until next week, and we will
Yep.
talk about it more in depth. But now, let's talk about your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
I hear this dude.
I'm just
guys.
kidding. I'm kidding,
Pissing
man.
me
I'm kidding.
off.
Let's talk about your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I am excited to talk about this show. But first and foremost, we have to pick Benjamin's brain because he was not here last week. Benjamin, what did you think of the very first 2 episodes of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?
First 2? I thought it was first. It was first 2. Wow.
Yeah, it was just first
I
2.
don't know why I thought they did 3 and 2, not 2 and 3.
You're probably just thinking of Invincible because they do 3.
Yeah. I thought that I don't know. Okay, I don't know what you guys think. So this will be interesting to
Yeah.
hear your guys' reaction. First 2 episodes, I thought were mostly fine. I don't think anything was like too super enticing. Obviously, it's a lot of setup. They're pretty short episodes. I thought they did some cool things, and especially like by the end, obviously when we have the dynamic of Peter and Norman revealing that he knows that he's Spider-Man, like that moment, I thought it was cool. I like that they're going a different approach with it. At least from what I know, I mean I didn't grow up watching a bunch of animated Spider-Man shows, but to me this is a new take on it where it's like, yeah, we're just gonna reveal this right away and lean into that. I think that could offer some new, interesting dynamics to the characters and whatnot. But otherwise, like it was pretty straightforward. Like I didn't think there was anything too spectacular about it. There was okay, that wasn't intentional.
Different animated Spider-Man show.
Like it was a fun time, and I did enjoy watching it, and I was into it the whole time. But it's not like there's any crazy notable things that are happening. and I guess just because it was a big topic of conversation, I didn't mind the animated style. Nothing like blew me away about it, but it also wasn't bothersome for me personally. I mean, there was like moments where you can notice some interesting ways that the art expresses itself on screen, but it wasn't like annoying or anything. Um, so yeah, for the first two episodes, yeah, I think I'll just leave it at that. By the end, I liked where we were going, but everything that happened was just kind of like, yeah, this is, it's fine, but it wasn't anything too crazy. It was a good setup, and I was excited to see where they would take it, but on its own, nothing too special in my opinion.
Charlie, you can go next.
I just find it funny because I know you didn't watch last week's episode, but Aiden was like, "Nah, I know Ben's just gonna agree with you. I know Ben's gonna agree with what you say about the show."
Yeah.
So I'm in line more with Charlie than Aiden.
And we talked
Yes,
about
sir.
it. I'll go next. Since
No
we
way.
already know the Charlie. I told
'Cause
Charlie
we
I
wanna hear
was
not the like polar opposite, but like opposite,
Yeah.
somewhat opposite opinion.
Yeah.
I told Charlie I was like, dude, Ben's gonna come in here and he's gonna agree with you because that sounds like a very like the way Charlie like attacked the show, and I don't mean attack, but the way he attacked
Yeah,
the show
no.
was like kind of the same way where he's just like, oh, I didn't think it was this, I didn't think it was too crazy. I mean, it just, and I was like, I told him I was like that's a very Ben like opinion on the show. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's just like I thought it was amazing. I thought it was like a 9 out of 10 show. Throughout those first two episodes.
Wow.
I thought it was great. I loved all the stuff that they were doing with Peter. Or not Peter, but I loved all the stuff they were doing with Spider-Man. Peter, I was like kind of still on the fence about. I thought the Lonnie stuff in the first episode was great. The animation grew on me a lot. I said it felt like a comic book, just like on screen. It was just like I don't know. I just love the art style they went for, and I came around a lot on how the animation looked while I was watching it. I thought the Norman reveal at the end of episode 2 was great. I just think that they hit in all the spots I wanted them to hit. They knew what they were doing. And you can tell they know what they're doing with like all the callbacks that they do, or all the references they make. And we'll talk about the ones from these 3 episodes too. But just like the Civil War shot for shot that they kind of do with Peter coming home and seeing Osborn on his couch with Aunt May. A lot of the stuff where Aunt May is like, oh, ask if the internship's paid, because obviously they're down on their luck. And I don't know. I just think I just felt like those 2 episodes, they knew exactly what we wanted from a Spider-Man show with MCU characters in it that isn't canon to the MCU. And I think they nailed it. Like that opening scene with Doctor Strange, having a symbiote just come out of nowhere. Like, I don't know. They were just firing on all cylinders. I was absolutely in love with it. And I thought it was a 9 out of 10. I thought it was great. I thought it was freaking great. And Charlie, not so much. He was just very flatlined, which I told him, I was like, dude, you're like the Spider-Man guy. You ride every Spider-Man thing ever in the history. So I was like,
Okay.
I have to get my shots in somewhere. Let me get my shots in somewhere. And so I was like, I'm like, you're the Spider-Man guy. So like, I was like, I'm surprised you aren't riding the show like with me. I thought like, and so whenever he started just being like, yeah, well, I didn't really like this, and then this was, I was like, oh my gosh, you like, this is just not at all what I was expecting from you. So yeah, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was fantastic. The Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Basically all I said about the first 2 episodes, just for like a short reiteration, like really good stuff. I love this stuff with Lonnie. That was something that Aiden and I really harped on a lot, was the direction they were going with him and how fantastic it was, even just that little snippet from, I believe it was episode 1. So like the supporting characters of the show, it seems like they're setting up really well. But actually, like I say that, but like I also like take it back at the same time though, because it's just Lonnie. I don't know anything about Nico. I don't know anything about Pearl. I don't even know much about Aunt May. Like I don't. Lonnie is the only character that's getting focus right now, and now I feel like I have a little bit more ground to stand on with all the way up to episode 5 being out. And not to jump into those too quick right now. Just like in terms of like what I'm talking about, still hasn't changed. Peter's best friend, Nico. I still hardly know anything about her except the fact that now I know she's a foster kid. That's it. How much they're focusing on Lonnie, I love. Don't get me wrong, and I'm standing by what I said last week. Aiden, don't get your pissy look off your face, boy. All right.
All right, I'll let you finish.
I'm standing by like what I like, dude. What they're doing with Lonnie and knowing where he's gonna go, knowing that he's gonna be Tombstone, that's gonna be a heartbreaking story, and it's already starting to be heartbreaking with these last 3 episodes that released. Just the fact of how it happened. He's trying to save his brother, and this is how he gets wrapped up in all of this, right? Fantastic stuff. But dude, I like Peter and the rest of everything that happens in his life. Dude, it's so deathly boring, brother. Peter is boring. I'm sorry, Peter is boring, dog. What is he doing? What like but aside from the certain things of like the basic characteristics that he carries into being Spider-Man, caring for other people, I think the Spider-Man stuff, and this is where like the teeter-totter comes for me. The Spider-Man stuff is fantastic. Episode 1 and 2, absolutely fantastic Spider-Man stuff. And I want to say that carries over even more. I loved watching him be Spider-Man in these last 3. Great stuff. But dude, Peter has nothing to do, man. Peter is essentially carried by these supporting characters in this show. Every conversation he has, he's like, well, I'm sorry. Like, dude, what? Like, stop with this. Stop with this stupid ass, like, why are you in situations where you don't need to be acting like that? You're acting like that. For example, with Norman, or no, sorry, with the angry scientist guy in Oscorp. I don't know his name. Like, why is he nervous up in front of his class like that? I don't like, why is Peter nervous like that? That doesn't make any sense to me as to like, look at what he's done in the past. He ran. Hold on, Aiden. He ran over to save some girl's life when he had no superpowers. He had no superpowers. Why is a man that is just totally okay with risking his life and not caring about other people? Why is he all of a sudden so squeamish and squirmish up in front of a room of 4 other people? Like, I don't. Okay, what are we talking about?
So what's the give and take? You want him to be a loser. You want him to be not as popular. But then in those moments, you want him to be suave and you want him to be charismatic and not. And
wow, I don't want suave.
Not suave, but you know what I mean. Like, you don't want him. Like, what's the give and take there? Because last week it was, I feel like Peter's just rising to popularity too fast, and now this week he gets up and he's nervous in front of his classmates, and you're like, oh my god, I just want him to be more charismatic.
That's the internship.
Same thing, but like he's up in front of there, and you're like, oh well, I want him to be more charismatic. Like, why is he acting nervous? What? So it's like, do you want him to be like a shy loser?
Make sense. Make it make sense is my thing. So like, if Pearl was in that class, okay, that makes sense why he's nervous. He doesn't want to embarrass himself in front of Pearl. I haven't seen any sort of reason why he, I don't know, fears the judgment of these other interns intern kids that he's around, other than in that scene in episode 2 where he was trying to hide that he's Spider-Man from them. Like, that was the nervous little thing that he had with those characters. Otherwise, it seems like he views peers, he views them as equals, right? There's no, like, I don't see a reason why he's standing up in front. Like, he's a smart guy. He knows he's a smart guy. So say the smart things. Just, that's all you're doing there, is presenting your smart ideas. I don't see why you're nervous.
I mean, I don't necessarily think he sees them as equals, because of that moment in episode 2 where they're all doing their projects and everyone is getting sorted immediately into their places, and then he's just kind of like the last one there, and they're like, all right, go with Dr. Connors over here. And so like he already doesn't feel worthy of getting the scholarship. He tried to turn it down in episode 1 whenever Norman was like, yeah, I want you to come work for me, I want you to come intern at Oscorp. And he's just like,
You trying to turn down?
I don't
No,
know.
he didn't try to turn it.
Maybe that's not the right word, but
Not until the dinner.
he didn't
Not
feel
until the dinner.
He didn't feel worthy of it. At least in my opinion, that's what it looked like. I mean, he it looked like he was caught off guard, and he didn't really view it like, he's like, why are you in my house? Where what I feel like you're saying is where it's like, oh yeah, he knows he's a smart kid. He knows that, he's smart. I want him to have charisma. Well, then in that moment, he would have been like, okay, yeah, like, yeah, I'm smart. I know I deserve this opportunity. This is sick. Is it paid? Whatever confers with Aunt May. But in that moment where they're all working on their projects and everyone's getting picked immediately, I mean, I feel like that's just kind of it beating down on him a little bit more, especially to the point where he gets called into Osborn's office and is immediately like, oh shit, like I fucked up.
Sure, I think that's a fair point. But then I would say like that should be offset by the leader of Oscorp, the person who built all of this. Absolutely, like just talking about how, oh my God, I'm so impressed with how you built these web shooters and how they operate with this CO2 tank on your back. It's incredible that you were able to do this stuff. And the fact that he takes him through the entire ideology of how I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, the entire process, let's say, of how he figured out that he narrowed down Spider-Man to these 4 kids that in New York, these 4 gifted kids. Like, I don't know, it's stuff like that just, I don't know. I feel like at least some of this double life should be bleeding into Peter's actual life and how he holds himself. And it seems like I'm fine with them doing what they do with Spider-Man, right? I think that again, I want to hammer home fantastic stuff. He's the most charismatic and most quippy I think I've ever seen him, with the exception of like the 90s show or the Spectacular Spider-Man show. And he does a great job in that role. But this version of Peter, it seems like so, I already said boring, but like it's lacking so much to the point where I don't even see, I don't think I've seen any growth for Peter at this point in time. How has Peter grown up to now? I know it's just been 5 episodes, but what has changed about him other than like the Spider-Man responsibilities he's taking more seriously? So then we see little bits of that hurting Nico and his relationship with Nico. But I don't know. What else?
Do you? So
I talked about that last week.
Let me ask this and then get to my next point, and then I want to hear what Ben was gonna say earlier. Do you like Tom Holland's Peter Parker?
I didn't at first, but now I do.
Okay, because I feel like this one is very likened to Tom Holland's Peter, in the sense that he's just like this insecure, like nervous around girls, like doesn't really feel worth, like just kind of like always on edge, like, oh whoa Mr. Stark, whatever. Whereas your boy Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is what you're wanting to see out of this Peter Parker. And I think maybe that's where the difference is with me and you, where I'm like, I just don't really care. Like, the Peter stuff isn't as big of a deal to me as it is to you. It definitely doesn't hinder my, how I feel about the episodes. Because, I mean, I think episode 3, 4, and 5 are just continue to be 9 out of 10s. I think the show is continuing to keep that quality that the first 2 episodes had. I think it's still fantastic. I think it still has no reason being this good. And that's because I don't really care about that. I don't really care about him being more like Tom Holland's Peter Parker than being like Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. And I think maybe that's where the divide is for us.
I don't know. I guess and I'll let Ben talk. Just to encompass it all. It's just I find him boring, and I don't think that there's been any real growth or signs of growth even from him right now, and the way he goes about life with his classmates or the internship. Whereas like his life as Spider-Man, it's blossoming, it's flourishing, and a large part of that is because of Norman. Sure, right? Norman's pushing him with new suits, pushing him to do new things and think differently while he's in the suit and tackling different objectives. Love it all. I think all of that is great, right? But I don't know if it's because we're spending too much time with Spider-Man, and then the times that we're not with Spider-Man, we're with like Lonnie, which I again love the Lonnie stuff, no complaint there. But I genuinely feel like we're missing the duality of the character when we focus on Spider-Man, and then when we're not focusing on Spider-Man, we're focusing on Lonnie. And then the little bits we get of Peter are him walking down the street with Nico while he's buying tickets for some concert that they're really gonna like, you know. And then I see them showing bits and pieces of the relationship cracking, and which is why between him and Nico, like he keeps involving himself with rich, powerful people that Nico with her morals doesn't necessarily agree with, and even having Peter or Harry come along to the movie. Was it a movie date or a concert date? Whatever. Having Harry come along to the movie thing, like that. There's another crack in the relationship, and I can see it building, which is why like. I'm commenting on this stuff now, but I want to clarify, like I'm just criticizing it. I'm not writing it off. I want it to be better, and I think it can be. And that's why I'm still watching. And even like at the dinner, there's a little bit like Norman talks about how I just told you, like, I know your secret identity and your first concern is other people. That's great too. I love that, you know? But I also feel like that's wrapped into how he portrays himself as Spider-Man. Like how we saw in episode 2, I think it was, when he let that woman go because she was just having a bad week or a bad string of luck lately. You know, like that it's all encompassing. And so like I'm seeing a lot of characterization between the little tiny things that Peter does, and it folds into Spider-Man, but I'm not seeing the opposite. I'm not seeing Spider-Man in Peter. Like I just find it so I find it so hard to believe that the Spider-Man that can go out and say something as funny as when a girl with like robot blade hands, metal blade hands, cuts his webs, and he's like, "Whoa, are you one of those CrossFit people?" Like that was I die, dude. That was so funny. But Peter. Are you sure, Osborne? Can I do this? Like, are you? Oh my God, do you guys like this thing that I did in class? Oh my God, like, come on, man, like, come on, bro.
I think another part of that is, which look, I'm not disagreeing with you because I see your point, and this isn't something that's outwardly shown to us. But I think another part of that is just that he feels more secure and more cool under that mask than he does in person. But again, that's something that they haven't fleshed out. That's just my take on it. So I can meet you there.
Dude, and sorry to interrupt. Actually, dude, if they played it like this too, I was just thinking of like, show this being like a characteristic that he's inherited, I guess to say, since Uncle Ben died. Like, once Uncle Ben died, he just kind of like retreated into himself, and now he's a nervous wreck. Show that to me. Let me know that is why. All I know is that Uncle Ben's dead, and then now they're selling his stuff because they need more money. And I love that aspect of it as well. I want to clarify, even though Peter just got paid $1,000 from Norman, but selling and they're selling Ben stuff. If you make that known to me, that Peter's retreated into this shell, that he doesn't normally sit in because of where he's at in his life with his father figure having died, the only father figure in his life. Like, dude, let me know that. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know if leaving too much up to interpretation is the way to describe what I'm talking about, but I don't know. It's kind of bonkers to me. I want, but sorry to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, go for it, Ben. I mean, that was pretty much, yeah, that was pretty much all I had. I'll get back to more of it later.
Well, Aiden, something you said was like that he was nervous for the internship program. And I think he was nervous like while he was there with the other people, feeling intimidated by the work that they were doing. But then, he did talk to Norman and he was placed. And so like I feel like at that point those should go away. And any hesitation that he had about the internship program, like at the dinner when he's talking about it with Norman and he's basically wanting to quit and give it up, none of that has to do with him feeling qualified based on his knowledge to be there. All of that has to do with not feeling like he can properly balance his life of being Spider-Man while giving his all to Norman and to the corporation. Um, so I agree with Charlie that him being up at the front, giving a presentation and just stuttering and not feeling confident in what he has to say, I don't understand why that happens. Like he should not at that point have any hesitation other than dealing with the balance between Spider-Man and his other responsibilities. Like because I think that's what it showed us. Was that like he started to find his place at Oscorp because Norman was kind of taking him in and having those conversations and whatnot. So at that point, like, there's nothing to be scared of. He should be more confident because he has an in with literally the owner of the company who loves him and wants him to be there and whatnot.
But
so who cares about these randos in your class? Like whatever.
I mean, this is Peter Parker we're talking about, though. It's like, should he? Like, you're talking about him as if he's just the main character in this TV show that we're watching. Not that he is Peter Parker, who in the past doesn't just have a switch like that to where he can just turn it on and be like, I mean, aside from some iterations like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, but that's why I liken it to Tom Holland's. I mean, it's the same thing as being like, oh well, then so why should Tom Holland's Peter Parker still have worries and still be nervous if he's literally up there fighting with the Avengers? Why should he be nervous to go talk to MJ or confess his feelings to MJ when they're on a trip in Europe? It's like, should he? Why? And also, why does it matter so much?
The difference is that Tom Holland's Spider-Man, they could set up a love story where at the end of No Way Home, he's nervous to go and talk to MJ because of everything that happened. They can emotionally set that up and make it make sense. In this case, like Charlie said, they set things up. They told us things. We learned things about Peter Parker and about Spider-Man, and they don't add up. That's the point. Is not that you can't do those things, but at least tell us, why is he nervous? Like, why is that a part of his characteristic?
But why?
That's the point that matters.
Why does that? But why does it matter? Why does it hinder the show so much that he's just nervous and he's just a dork most of the time?
Well, okay, it's not about this specific one little thing. The point
I know.
that Charlie is making that I agree with is that there are many things in this show where you have little nuggets of things that are really good, well set up, good moments, but they're just not fully fleshing them out, making them work together to do anything compelling. It's just things that happen, and it doesn't feel like it's all fleshed out and thought out for his character. That's my thing as well with the whole show is like, right now, sure, the Norman Osborn stuff at the end of episode 2 was cool. I don't really feel like they've done anything with it, and we're halfway through the season. Like, we haven't gone anywhere that's like, they haven't advanced those emotions, and like, yeah, they're building the relationship, sure, but it hasn't done anything yet.
But why does it have to do anything if they have 3 whole seasons where they can do that stuff later? They just introduced Dr. Octopus, who has had his hands in almost every villain we've seen so far. Why not just have him be the villain? Let Norman be the leader for the next, or be the mentor for the next 2 seasons. Why does everything have to happen immediately? That's my whole thing. Why do these things have to be?
I would be fine with that.
Yeah. Well, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Like, I know you're not writing the show off, Charlie. I know you said you're not writing it off. You're just critiquing it. I'm just not feeling that. I'm just not seeing any of those critique. It hasn't been an issue for me. I don't think it's as big of a deal as it's been made out to me by y'all two. And I mean, I don't know. I feel like they have time to do
It's
what they want with it. And
it's just like I feel like that's an excuse for the show almost, is to be like, oh, we can get to those things. Like literally episode 1 of Severance that I watched not that long ago. I'm invested. I care about the characters. They're setting them up. It's interesting and they continue to build on that. Like Charlie has said, and I agree with this, we're halfway through season 1. Peter Parker has not moved at all. Spider-Man, yeah, he's a fun character to watch and they've done some cool things. He got some new suits, whatever. But like things are just happening and it doesn't feel like it matters that much. I don't have a reason to really care about what's happening. That's the difference, at least for me. Like I can like the individual things that happen, but it doesn't feel like it's put together in a cohesive package where I'm like really invested into it.
I want to compare it to like how they're doing Lonnie in the show. I feel like Lonnie has had so much regression, intentional regression, because of circumstances in his life, and we see him having to put on a face to cope with that, so other people don't have to deal with what he's going through like he is. He's lying to Pearl. He's not telling his own girlfriend that he's joined a gang to save his brother. And yet I turned to Peter, and all I got was a tiny conversation between him and May in episode 1. I'm sorry, I know we've been going through a lot right now, and this really sucks, but we'll get through it, right? And then little bits and pieces of that same thing where he tells Norman, please don't tell my Aunt May. It's the same thing that Tom Holland said in Homecoming. Tom Holland Spider-Man said to Ned when Ned found out, please don't tell Aunt May. She's been through too much right now. She can't go through this. And then the little conversation that he had with May when May started selling his stuff. All that, like, those are like tiny little things that aren't really doing much to give me an inside look as to Peter's mindset and the way he's going about life right now, the way he's coping with Uncle Ben. Whereas Lonnie, I'm watching Lonnie go about his life. Even, dude, the first time they showed it to us, the minute he walks away from Peter, his face from smiling, frowning, has to walk. He walks halfway through the city, walks to the subway, has to get on the subway, walk through a dangerous part of town, have the cops following him, eyeing him or whatever. And then now you add on to that, you're giving more stuff, obstacles for him to have to overcome. His brother being in a gang, he has to join that gang to save his brother, and then making decisions while in a gang fight to save somebody because he's a good person. At least I assume anyway that this is why he did it. He's a good person. He doesn't want somebody to die. He wasn't even fighting anybody in this fight, and he sees somebody pull out a knife, and so he jumps in the way to save him or tackles the guy, whatever he did. And all of that happened in the span of 5 episodes now, I guess. And Peter has not moved. Peter is the same. Peter is walking about life, and as we talked about in the first 2 episodes we talked about, Aiden, all this stuff is just, and Ben just mentioned it, is just happening to him. He's becoming popular. He's friends with the quarterback of the football team all of a sudden because they worked on a project together, right? And so now he's catapulted to this level of high school fame, high school popularity, and he's getting invited to these parties. Lonnie's calling him his good luck charm. He's buying him lunch and everything. Dude, Peter is being pushed through this whole thing, and I'm not seeing Peter picking up any different characteristics or ideals or ideologies and any sort of thing like that throughout his life right now. And I know there's 3 seasons, but if I'm looking at what's happening to Lonnie in 5 episodes and Peter isn't getting even a fraction of the same sort of development in that amount of time, that I feel like that's a problem. I feel like that's an issue. Spider-Man, though, fan-fucking-tastic. And you can make an argument. The show's called Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Sure. And I mean, I just think that there's more to the character than just Spider-Man. And that's always been the case. it's not just Spider-Man. It's fucking Peter and Spider-Man. You know.
So
I don't want to sound like I'm getting
so
heated.
at
I'm
the
not heated, but
no. I mean, it's a great discussion. I'll ask this, and I'm not necessarily asking this to be like, okay, but yeah, look at this. I'm genuinely asking,
sure.
and I know because I mean you love the game, and you're more closer with the game than I am. I mean, I played it, I love it, obviously, but you, I mean,
Yeah.
have made tons of videos on it, had 100,000 view video on it. In PlayStation 4 Spider-Man, they're doing because I've kind of been likening it to this how Dr. Octopus was his mentor and they had that, and Doc Ock went on his little journey and obviously descended into becoming the man he did while Spider-Man went on his way. What's the difference there between this iteration and that iteration? And
What do you
where
mean as in terms of
in terms
Peter's
of
growth,
Peter,
or?
in terms of Peter, yeah. Like I want to know why that worked for you, the PlayStation 4 version worked for you, but this isn't. When we're essentially getting two of this, I mean, we see Lonnie descending, and we have spent a lot of time on Lonnie and his character, because obviously we know them two are going to face. I mean, that's what the show is building up to, I assume, but not a lot for Peter. Well, I mean, it's the same. We got a whole bunch of Doc Ock, and we got to see Doc Ock's descent into madness and his hate for Oscorp and all that stuff. Now, refresh me on the Peter stuff and why the PlayStation 4 iteration works for you, but this doesn't.
I mean, Peter just went through a bunch of different struggles and problems throughout that story. I mean, from the very the very like opening 10 seconds, we see Peter have to make a decision. Go be Spider-Man or do something and go and be able to pay for your rent.
Yeah.
He chooses to be Spider-Man. And because of that, all of his stuff gets tossed into a dumpster. And then he has to go swing around the city and go get it, right? Mm-hmm. And then you add on top of that all this inner conflict that he has with MJ, because him and MJ are in a rocky place right now because they broke up after something. I don't remember what happened between them, but they broke up for some reason, and now it's just kind of awkward between them. Like there's something there, but there isn't. He's having to deal with Aunt May and everything that she has going on at Feast, and all the while he's still trying to find a way to bring in money with the doc stuff. His heart is really in that, right? He's in there supporting Doc Ock with all of the robotic arm tests and whatnot. And I guess all the while, I mean, it's hard to say like with the knowing the full culmination of things compared to this show. I don't know how this is going to turn out. And I guess just looking at like how Peter, I don't know, finds out about that realization and feels betrayed. I mean, I don't doubt that it wouldn't be handled well in this show either if Norman does end up becoming the Green Goblin. And let's say like he hides it from Peter for a while or whatever. And it's just 5 episodes in. I don't think that's anything like that's gonna happen this season at all. I think that would take a while to build up to, because I don't even get any sort of like super evil vibes from Norman right now. But I don't know, just in terms of Peter's character, I feel like he struggled and changed so much in just the first half of the Spider-Man PS4 game in comparison to this show. I mean, look at all the stuff that he had to deal with Miles, and Miles lost his dad in that game, right? He had to help bring Miles into Feast and help him on along his way, and he had to learn how to maneuver this new relationship with MJ because he wants her back, but he doesn't. He's not exactly sure like the right way that he needs to speak to her and involve her in his other life in order for this relationship to work, because he treated her as an afterthought the entire time. I think that was one of the main reasons they broke up. Now I'm remembering.
Yeah.
Treated her as an afterthought, as like a sidekick, and kind of just push her to the side. But she wanted to be there to help, and he wasn't taking what she could actually do to help seriously. And so he has to change. And if he wants this to work, he has to change. I don't know. It's just small things.
No.
Like that.
I
like,
agree. Yeah. I think that's great insight, and that's has everything I was asking. Like I said, I was genuinely asking. It wasn't a gotcha moment. So yes.
No. I didn't. I was just trying to like dive deep into my mind of the different things. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I do think that these things can happen for Peter, and I do like I said, I'm seeing the tiny little cracks, and most of them just revolve around Uncle Ben. I will say that as well. But with that being said, I do think there is still a possibility for it to shine, I guess, for Peter to shine, I should say. And I hope that that's the case. And I said this after the first 2 episodes, and I'm still saying it now. So like, it's a little bit more doom and gloom for me on that front. But I don't know. They're adding different elements to it. Like he's becoming friends with Harry now on like a outside of just a Spider-Man level, but remains to be seen, I guess.
I mean, I'm not pushing back on that. It just hasn't been an issue for me. I mean, I think the Spider-Man stuff is great. Peter bleeds into Spidey, and supporting characters are top notch. I mean, Norman, Lonnie, and now introducing Harry. I think it's all been great. I think the show is fantastic. I think the show is still a 9 out of 10 for me. It has no reason being that good for me. And I just don't have those issues with it. I just don't really take too much of an issue with that. Now, if we get to episode 10 and Peter still has not had any development, because I do agree, like, I always think back to the moment where Peter's hanging upside down and he's having that text message. He's texting with MJ and he's like, okay, what do you mean okay? And he's like walking around freaking out. That reminded me of that moment. I'm like, okay, that was great. That was fantastic. Blending Peter into Spider-Man and not just having Spider-Man being this separate entity. So if we get to episode 10 and we still haven't seen too much of that, which they showed a little bit, and I know you said they've had moments and they've had nuggets. I'm not pushing back, but him looking through the camera and catching that photo of going through and seeing Ben and May and whatnot, I will say I do wish they spent more time on that. I wish we could have seen him get a little bit more upset and it wasn't interrupted by a police phone call or whatever. I will agree with that. If we get to episode 10 and still nothing has moved, I probably will come down on it a little bit more. But not too much, because I'm still obviously loving everything else they're doing without it having happened so far. But yeah, I just don't really have too much of an issue for it, because I think everything else has been phenomenal so far. So I mean, I don't personally have an issue with it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's bled in enough for me to still enjoy the show and to still enjoy the contrast between Peter and Spider-Man. We'll see where this conversation goes after the next batch of 3. Which I like. I like that it's dropping in such big, because that's a lot of time for, I mean, at least for these types of discussions, and at least for this podcast. We can come back next week and be like, 3-episode arc of Peter blending into Spidey every single episode. What do y'all think? So I don't know. We'll see how it looks back.
Okay, sure.
I just don't have an issue with it.
I do think that the when the culmination of these cracks between him and Nico finally happens, I do think that'll be a big moment for Peter's characterization and his growth as a character. I do think that I can foresee that for sure.
I guess
I just think that there should have been little things building up to where we are now. More little things, I should say, because I did acknowledge that there are already little things. I do think that there should have already been somewhat of a change in Peter and the way he holds himself, the way he interacts with people. Like, especially with the fact that he, like what we're talking about of him just being thrust into so many different higher positions. Like, okay, I don't know. Peter's typically the kind of person that, like, and I'm blending like different adaptations. And I know this is a different adaptation, so I'm not asking for this to happen, but just, I don't know, like an egotistical guy. Like if this happened to like a different kind of Peter, he's thrust into like this higher class, I guess you could say, of high school, and all of a sudden, like, I don't know, that's gonna go to his head a little bit, you know. But again, different adaptation, so I'm not mad at that part. It's just like, why am I not seeing Peter adapt in a way. Like it just seems like he's I don't know. I'm rehashing same old things. So I guess just
I will
whatever, we can
I
move on.
agree with the Peter blending into Spider-Man stuff. I don't necessarily care if Spider-Man blends into Peter at all. I think the Spider-Man blending into Peter stuff, I just I mean I just don't really care to see it, because I mean it didn't really happen. And feel free to come back me on this, because I mean it's been a long time since I watched Far From Home and Homecoming. I don't really think it happens too much to Tom, where Spider-Man bleeds in too much to Peter to make his ego a little bit inflated in Peter's everyday life and Peter's school. I don't care about Spider-Man blending into Peter. Now, I can meet you halfway on Peter blending into Spider-Man. I don't think it's a huge deal that haven't done it in 5 episodes of this season, and even 5 episodes of a whole 3 seasons, but that's a topic for later. I don't think it's a big deal that they haven't done it so far. The Spider-Man blend into Peter and Peter getting a little egotistical, I don't really care for. If that doesn't happen,
When I
by
say
the end
egotistical, I'm not talking about just
yeah.
Spider-Man blending it. I'm talking about just the fact that like he got picked up by the high school quarterback, as I mentioned before, and now he's getting invited to these parties, just strictly in his social aspect of his life as Peter Parker, like that kind of stuff. Not just the Spider-Man things.
Okay.
But overall, I just
It
want
would
to
just
culminate
be
my
a
point back to the
rehashing.
just culminate my point. If I could make it in one giant thing, it's just Lonnie, looking at Lonnie and the growth that Lonnie has had in these 5 episodes. If we're going to talk about, if we're comparing to like how the fact that they have 3 seasons to build Peter, the fact that Lonnie's gotten so much in 5 episodes and Peter's gotten nothing is concerning to me. That's that's the only thing I'd say.
But that's the thing. Lonnie's one person. Like I don't know. Like Spider-Man has this
Peter's
whole.
the title character though.
Yeah, but
Peter's the
he
title
has
character.
he has this double life. You've said the Spider-Man stuff has been fantastic. I mean, it's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Cool. Lonnie's one character that's gotten this development because he needs it, because he's a villain that nobody knows going into this show until you hear the name Lonnie Lincoln and you hear his full name.
I don't like this point, Aiden. No, I
mean,
agree
wait,
with
I mean,
Charlie here. Like,
okay, we know.
No,
I mean, we know y'all are in cahoots. We know you're Charlie.
Hold on, we're not trying to gang up. I'm not trying to say all that.
it's true that like genuinely I care more about the stuff with Lonnie than I care about with Peter Parker. And it's because of how much effort that they've put into his character, the motivation, the storyline that they're building on, emotionally grounded. They put all that work in. The only reason I care about Peter Parker right now is because we know who Peter Parker is and we know that he's Spider-Man. It has nothing to do with anything that the show has done.
But that's but Charlie is. I mean, that's literally what Charlie's whole point was. Is that the Spider-Man stuff is fantastic. The Spider-Man stuff is amazing, and what they're doing with Spider-Man is great. Okay, I mean, that's what we've been getting. Yeah, he's a title character, and the shit they're doing with him is amazing.
The Spider-Man stuff. I'm critiquing the Peter Parker stuff.
Okay, so then you're splitting. I don't know. I think there's just such a hard divide for y'all in Peter and Spider-Man, where it's like, okay, these are 2 characters right here, and this is one character, Lonnie, that they haven't fleshed out. It's like, what? Yeah, or that they fleshed out.
Come on.
Yes, it's Lonnie, and then they have Spider-Man, who is Peter Parker, and they've done fantastic shit with Spider-Man, and they've sprinkled the Peter Parker stuff.
Okay, Spider-Man hasn't gone through a ton of growth either. And I don't think that Spider-Man usually goes through a lot of growth. You care more about Peter Parker going through growth.
That's the thing. We're 5 episodes in. They're showing those cracks.
But Lonnie.
Because Lonnie needs that shit. Because, again, you go into this and
Peter doesn't. And Peter doesn't?
Again, you're dividing the character. You're splitting them up into 2 fucking people. And then Lonnie over here.
And Spider-Man doesn't? What are you saying?
But that's the whole thing, is the Spider-Man shit has been great, and it's 5 episodes in, you do that work on Lonnie to set him up, and then the back half of the season, you have that collide. They did it in, what was it? They did it in episode 3 with Spider-Man dapping up Norman, and saying welcome to Oscorp or whatever, and then contrasting it with Lonnie dapping up Big Donovan and saying welcome to the 501st. They're on this same path. I mean, Spider-Man or the 501st. I'm thinking of
110
Star Wars. the 110th. I think this back half of the season, and again, that's why I say if they don't, I can come back and I can say, okay, now that the whole season's done, I'll go back on it. But to show the cracks now with Spider-Man and Peter Parker, just Spider-Man, call him as a whole, Spider Parker, to show those cracks now and already have Lonnie set up as a character, or you already have this arc that Lonnie went on. You see that Spider-Man's rise and Lonnie's fall. Like, I think that back half of the season, when you spend more time on it, if they do, again, this is all just if, and me having hope that they do, when you contrast that rise and fall with Spider Parker and Lonnie, then I feel like it's totally fine. And that's why I don't care that they haven't done too much with it.
No.
What the fuck do you mean? Like, what the fuck?
I think Ben is saying, like, Spider-Man's had growth, yeah, but not even Spider-Man. Like, if we're separating the characters, or if we're combining the characters, Spider-Man having more growth than Peter, because I don't think Peter has really had any. The growth that Spider-Man has had still doesn't match the growth or regression, the building of character that Lonnie has had. I agree with that.
But okay, here's my thing. You have Peter, right, and you have Lonnie at episode 1, 0 minutes 0 seconds. At the end of episode 5, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, is friends with Harry Osborn, has a whole suit and tech, and has Norman Osborn in his pocket. I mean, his growth is skyrocketing. And then you have Lonnie, who's a star high school quarterback. They're right here. And now they're like Lonnie's going on this decline and Spider-Man's rising up. Like, what? Like, characteristic growth? Okay. But like in terms of emotional that's what I'm talking about.
I can see what you're trying to say, and I can see that. I think that's what the showrunners are trying to go for, is that, like, Spider-Man, it's like the difference of like the company you keep kind of thing, even though it's not really like, it's not like Lonnie's choosing the company he has, but like the difference in life, like Peter, because Peter was discovered by Norman Osborn, he's getting thrust into this higher echelon, right? And also the people around him at high school, he's getting thrust in this higher echelon. But then Lonnie is seemingly being pulled down by different aspects in his life rather than being lifted up like Peter. I can understand that. That's that's a great, like, if executed properly, it's great. I just don't think that Peter has had that level of, like, being brought up, like, to the same level that Lonnie has been brought down to, I guess.
I think the difference is with Peter or Spider-Man, combine them, whatever, it just feels like a lot of things that are happening, whereas with Lonnie, it's things that we care about. We know the emotional grounding of everything that happens. We're invested in it. Whereas for Peter Parker, it's like, okay, he's friends with Harry. Okay, Osborn knows who he is. But it doesn't have the same depth to it. And so, like, I get what you're saying. I get the up and down. But like, if they are building to a back half where that's going to at some point collide, they haven't laid the groundwork for Peter as much as they have for Lonnie. So I don't think it will be as satisfying for Peter's story. Like, yeah, I'll care about the Lonnie stuff, but right now I don't care that much about Peter Parker.
I just don't think that they really have needed to at this point in the story. I just don't think they have needed to. I just don't think they need to.
Okay.
I can't wait for Aiden to eat his words, man. I can't wait for Aiden to eat. I'm just kidding.
I
don't know.
I will. If we get to,
like I said, I eat mine though.
If we get to episode 10 and nothing's changed, I mean, I'll come down on it a bit, but right now I don't see any issue with what they've done so far. I don't think it's been as needed as y'all think it has been. think the show's been fine.
And
with
I
that.
will say I do love the characterization of Norman so far as well, just like with the fact of him wanting to build a new, the next generation of superheroes. And I can see him becoming potentially like obsessed with that idea and him wanting to further that and like, well, why can't it be me or something like that? Maybe if that's the path they go with him, whatever. I can see that being a through line. If it's not, then whatever. I'm just spewing shit. But I like, this is a good base for Norman Osborn, I think. And I don't know. We talked Lonnie to death.
We've basically covered everything in the, throughout this.
Yeah.
We've covered everything except for the Sokovia Accords, which I thought was such a sick surprise.
Yeah, I do like I think the Avengers will play a bigger role going into the later into the show. Like we'll see more of them and see like I feel like it's weird that they're taking because the only other reason that you'd be taking time to talk about these things is just because like look, it's like the MCU, but it's not, you know. So I feel like this has to play some sort of role. The Sokovia Accords and like the Avengers will get involved with some degree, and like you have little things like at the prison breakout, the guy was like, "We got to get out of here, or else the Iron Man and his little friends are gonna show up," or whatever he said. I don't know. I feel like that kind of stuff is very intentional. So we'll see where that goes. I'm interested in it for sure. But
Yeah, I thought the past 3 episodes were great. I like a lot of the stuff they were doing, contrasting Lonnie and Peter. His rise, Lonnie's
hey, bro,
fall.
Aiden, I think the show wants you to bounce a little faster, bro.
Here he fucking goes. Oh, I hope I never live to see another project where y'all two motherfuckers agree. Oh my god, I'm sweating in here like holy shit. End this podcast episode already. No, I think it's been great. What can I say? I like Spider-Man. I like seeing Spider-Man shit. You know, sue me, I guess, Charlie. Whatever. Fucking.
All right, bro. Look at my room, bro. Look at my room. You think I don't like Spider-Man? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. But he got nervous in front of everyone. Get the fuck out of here! Jesus Christ!
Listen, I know that was like. Listen, I'll acknowledge that was a weak complaint.
No, I know it. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I think I encompassed my overall point though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is going to conclude episode 81 of the Words from the Nerds podcast. We'll be back next week to discuss episodes 6, 7, and 8 of the Spider-Man show, as well as episodes 1 through 4 of Invincible Season 3, and potentially some Severance discussions if Benjamin catches. I don't think Ben's going to catch up by next week. You know,
probably not. Yeah.
But we'll talk a little bit about
if it's crazy enough, Benny might just have to sit out for a couple minutes because hey, this season's been on one. I'll tell you that it's been on one.
But we appreciate each and every one of you for watching or listening wherever you are. Hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or night. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell because we are coming at you every single week with a new episode. Don't forget to leave a comment either. We will read it at the beginning of next week's episode. Same goes to you on audio listening platforms. Drop us a rating. Drop us a good one. We deserve it. This argument that we had, Aiden's sweating for it.
Sweating.
Didn't you hear that? That's crazy. Drop us a good rating and also leave some fan mail. We'll read that as well. But we'll see you next time on the nerdy, wonderful Words from the Nerds podcast. Adios.
Peace.
Sayonara.